Greetings, YouTube. That title ought to get some attention. I apologize if I sound a little stuffy today. The windows are open and the pollen is present, and my head is responding. Yay! So, as the title describes, I'm discussing dicks and pussies. Well, specifically, I'm not actually discussing penises and vaginas as items in particular. What I'm discussing is how those two terms, dicks and pussies, or dick and pussy, are used in a derogatory light. Now, there was a time, not that long ago, that I even used the word dick myself in a derogatory light when I was quoting Will Wheaton's famous line, "Don't be a dick." But as I began to ponder the nature of that term, and then by reflection, the term pussy, in reference as a derogatory term, I began to realize that saying that being compared to the genitals of either sex in a negative light is sexist. Whether you're saying someone's a dick and saying, well, if you were like a male erection, penis, you are bad, or a female vagina in the case of saying, often you refer being referenced to a male, saying that person is a pussy, as in they are less manly because I am comparing them to female genitalia. And that began to bother me a lot. So I have stopped using those terms as derogatory nomenclature. In fact, if I have modified Will Wheaton's statement, I no longer say don't be a dick. I say don't be an asshat, because everyone has an ass, and sometimes people are asshats. It's gender neutral. There is no association implying that one component of a person's biological sex is to be derided over any other. I'm not deriding asses. You can say don't be an ass, and you can be referring to the fact don't act like a donkey. If you'd like a British version, you can say don't be an arse. There you go. I can't quite say that as well as the gentleman gamer can. I lack the British accent. I am horrible at accents. But it is still quite usable. Don't be an arse. It's just as good as don't be an ass or don't be an asshat. Again, all of them are gender neutral. They are not making references to the sexual organs of anybody. Because let's face it, saying that being compared to the actual primary sexual characteristic of one of the sexes in a derogatory way is really insulting. I mean, it's being used as an insult, but the implication is that who you are is an insult. That's pretty strong. Particularly for, in the case of dick, it's a little four-letter word. But it's a four-letter word that carries a lot of punch. Now, in the past, I had a person I used to work with who I really, really didn't like, and at the time of my life, I was far less than well-adjusted. And his name was Richard, and he went by the nickname Dick. Why anyone would want to go by the nickname Dick, I have never been able to fathom. But he did, in fact, willingly go by the nickname Dick. And every day I would see him in the morning, and I would say, "Good morning, Dick." And he knew that I wasn't saying the shortened version of Richard. I wasn't using a nickname when I said the word Dick, because I pronounced it just like that. "Good morning, Dick." I made there be a pause. I made him to understand that I was actually calling him a penis every single day. Because that's what I thought he was. And my assertion was borne out over time. He was a very unpleasant human being on many levels. But I didn't understand how to cope with my own stress and anxiety at that time. I wasn't as understanding of empathy, sympathy, and compassion. I didn't figure out where he was coming from and the fact that, he had his own issues and maybe why he was behaving this way. There was a reason for it. It doesn't excuse his actions, but having that understanding does help us perceive people in greater depth. And as John Green says, you have to look at the world complexly. So, I am no longer using the mildly offensive terms dick and pussy, and the derivative of pussy, wussy, which is also derived from the word pussy, because I'll be honest here. I'm male. I identify as male. I am biological male. I'm really fond of my dick, and I don't think I should be using that as an insult. And as a person that supports feminism and a person's right to be proud of themselves, and as a heterosexual male, I've been known to be rather fond of pussies. And again, I don't think I should be deriding them as a negative. I should not be using those terms as insults. Derogatory terms can be found in other ways, and there are gender-neutral terms such as ass, arse, or asshat. I'm very fond of asshat. I really am. I don't remember where I first heard the term, but asshat is a wonderful word, and whoever invented it, because I don't remember it when I was a kid. It's something that seems to have merely been made onto my radar, I think, in the last decade or so. Whoever invented that word really does deserve a Nobel Prize. So tell me, how do you feel about such gendered insults? Do you feel that they are appropriate? Do you feel that we should avoid them? Do you save them for special occasions? Do you have a particular term that you like to use that is gender neutral, or one that is a little less offensive that you like to rely on? Are you a fan of ass, arse, or asshat? I'm interested in knowing. I have a fascination with language, and I own at least 2 different types of dictionaries that deal with slang. In one of them, there are long passages about the classic swear words, and it's quite interesting. Not to mention, I have a copy of the Oxford English Dictionary on my shelf over there. So tell me, what are your favorite words to use when you don't want to insult someone's genitals, but you really need a term to describe their very, very negative behavior?